As the strike at Illinois State enters its third week, the university is now being sued. A lawsuit filed last night in McLean County Court names the Board of Trustees, President Andave Tarhule, and 3 other university administrators as defendants, accusing the university of hiring temporary workers to replace those on strike in an effort to gain leverage in the negotiations. The plaintiffs, which include ISU students and the Normal Township supervisor, alongside the union, are asking the judge to prohibit ISU from hiring replacement workers during any strike. The union argues the university is violating state law. ISU told us their hiring practices are compliant. There's no court date yet. ISU also says they have not been notified about the suit.